Let's pull up the stock price of Zee News for you. 11% higher, and with reason, mind you. Let's just look at the numbers. Q3 FY12 consolidated numbers. PAT at 10 crores versus 6 crores. Q3 sales have gone up close to 5%, and the reason of the PAT doing very well is also that the margins have shaped up fairly okay in this quarter as well. So all in all, a fairly good quarter despite expectations from the news space per se to post a fairly muted quarter. Barun Das, CEO of Zee News, joins us right now to talk about the numbers and the outlook ahead. Barun, thanks so much for joining in. Neeraj here, and
thank you.
Congratulations on the number. The question mark really is how did you manage it, because almost across the board it was expected to be a muted quarter. You probably are one of or maybe one of the rare companies which has managed to do so. How so?
Thank you very much for your kind words, Neeraj. Yes, even we didn't expect it to be so good in the beginning of the quarter. If you remember my interaction with your channel at the end of last quarter. And obviously we couldn't grow for the first time, I think, in last 10-12 quarters where we couldn't show growth in our advertising revenue. But we managed our cost, and as you would know that we've shut down Zee Tamil's operation. That loss has been saved, and like we did in the past, where we have distributed our risk and revenue sources, we had very strong subscription revenue source. Currently, we now also are growing in the international syndication revenue source. We've started Zee Business in US, and unlike most of the Indian news company, we took slower steps there to ensure that there's a net contribution to the bottom line, and we don't burn out money in our quest to be present in the international market. So that's the third source of revenue, which is turning out to be a boon for us. So overall, multiple revenue sources, subscription revenue gaining traction, advertising revenue maintaining, not letting it slipping down compared to last year, which was likely because, as you know, the festival period this time got overlapped between Q2 and Q3. So it was a daunting task for us to even match up with last year's Q3 revenue. So all these things put together and a constant cost management has enabled us.
So the other question, Barun, is one, that your ad revenues maintain or maybe slipped a wee little bit. Is it because of what's really happening to the ad industry per se? Two, the expansion in margins, it's over 600 basis points expansion. I mean, cost cutting couldn't probably lead to 600 basis points. Is there something that you've done drastically which has led to so much of an expansion in the EBITDA margins?
No. The first question, answering to the first question, yes, there is an overall slowdown in the economy, and I think all of us in the business, we know that it's a tight situation out there. The second fact for the lack of growth in advertising revenue was that, as I just said, Q3 last year was the festival quarter. This year we had the benefit of festival quarter in Q2 also. So these two put together had made a task challenging to match up to last year's revenue numbers. And in terms of growth of margin, please don't go by the basis points, because we're a small company. The profits are not that big. So if you take at the EBITDA level, we've grown from last year's 13 point something crore to about 19 plus crore this year. The two reasons for that is that we've grown in the syndication revenue. If you see the other revenue as we reported in our earning release, which got accumulated in this quarter over the last 3 quarters. So while we had got into the business, but because of delay in agreement signing, etc., so they got reported this quarter. And the second thing, as I said, that there's no more loss. The new business losses has come down due to shutdown of Tamil channel. So these two put together has straight away come to the bottom line, and therefore it has improved significantly.
Right, Barun, just trying to understand then the growth in revenue coming in from the subscriber base. Now, subscriber growth has been muted. There is a joint venture in place with Media Pro. How much has that helped in the subscriber growth? And also throw some more perspective on how you see this segment of revenue shaping up in the next few quarters, because of course internationally a large chunk of revenues come in from a higher subscriber base, and given that in India also we're moving towards digitization and there are more subscribers coming in via DTH, what kind of numbers and revenues do you expect from that segment?
Okay, let me just break down your question. It's a long question. The first question, if I had heard you right, is you asked about the subscription revenue and the Media Pro. Yes, Media Pro got set up in the beginning of this year. And obviously, when you set up a new venture, there are teething problems in the beginning. There are discussions on over agreements. So that had actually slowed down our subscription revenue in the first 2 quarters. So which has started catching up in Q3, and Q4, according to me, looks even more brighter as far as subscription revenue is concerned. And going forward, as you know, that the Digitization Act has been passed, and there's a sunset date for the first phase is 31st March, which the government is working towards. All the industry bodies are committed to it. So going forward, that's one thing that's going to drive the Indian television industry, much like the way, as you mentioned, international markets. As of now, if you see in Indian broadcasting industry, the composition of revenue would be about 80-20, 80% advertising, which is actually the other way around in the global arena. With digitization, where last mile traceability would be a reality, I think the subscription revenue for paid channels are going to grow significantly. And companies like us, over the last 5 years, we have, we had always been a pay Hindi news channel, which was one of the rare exceptions. Currently, one more has turned pay, but we had always been pay. So that had actually caused dents to our viewership numbers. But we sustained that, and now going forward, I think companies like us with a lot of focus on the subscription revenue would reap rich dividends, and that would happen with the digitalization which is in the offing.
Is there a percentage you could put, FY13 onwards, how much will subscription revenues contribute?
See, currently, as of this quarter, as far as we are concerned, we are at about 23-24%, which comes from subscription revenue. Going forward, what we set in the near horizon, we look forward to take it to about 30-70. But mind it, advertising revenue of some of our newly launched channels will also exponentially grow, like Zee News, EP, etc. So maintenance of 25-75 itself is a very daunting task for us. While our endeavor is to take it to 30, but digitalization, as far as I'm concerned, the full swing, the effect of digitalization will come into being, to my mind, between 3 to 5 years time horizon. So one cannot put a percentage growth number before that, but I can tell you that I won't be surprised that on a 3 to 5 years time horizon and beyond that, the subscription revenue for the entire industry would contribute close to 50%, and that's the time that all of us are looking forward to enjoy.
Sure. Barun, out of time completely, last 15 seconds. Q3, you clocked in a PAT of 10 crores. Safe to extrapolate it to the next couple of quarters? You do around 10 crores, 11 crores?
I think so. Yeah, next quarter at least, because we have revenue upside expected in next quarter due to election, etc.